And anyone that's on YouTube or any of the other channels, just click on subscribe and follow, and you will get updated on these webinars, and anything that I do in particular will be updated for you. Now, we talked about Bitcoin last week, and we talked about a couple of potential scenarios. Now, we can see here that we were expecting it either to go up and come back down to this scenario here, or hit its head and come back down. And that's exactly what it did, it come back down. Now, the only difference is this floor that we had picked out, it did bounce, but then it continued to drop. Okay, it now continued to drop. So I'm going to get rid of this one because that one now wasn't correct. That's sort of the next scenario that we're sort of looking at on the likes of this. So it went up, hit its head, and it came back down. Now, there's a couple little things that we need to sort of look at this. Do we expect, okay, and do we expect the market to do this and continue going up? Or is this happening phase 1, phase 2, phase 1, phase 2, phase 1, phase 2, phase 1? So are we talking about A, or do we expect B? So are we expecting A or B? So A is going up, B is going down. Which of the two do we expect to happen first? In your opinion? Okay, a lot of people are looking at B. Oh wow. I would have expected a lot more people expect the A pattern. But yeah, some people are looking at the B pattern. Now, potentially, or historically, we'd expect the A pattern to happen. Historically, we'd expect the A pattern to happen. But again, it may move sideways for a little while. We may actually have a plan C. It may not do any of these. Okay, so if I clear all these drawings, it may do this. So if we look at this one here, so see this section? We had this pinging around here for, what was it, May, June, July. So we had 2 months of this moving sideways. This may move sideways for a couple of months. We have a couple of different things going on. We have the likes of the variant that's going on. Now, that's really the first time that Bitcoin has really been sort of hit with any sort of reaction to a variant. Okay, so that was the first thing. Then we have the sanctions from the banks. Okay, that's the reason we had the big drop. But again, as crypto traders, we have a few people here on the chat. As a crypto trader, when that dropped, what was your first thought? What was your first thought when that dropped? Because I can tell you mine. Absolutely, absolutely. This is an opportunity to buy more. Now, if you're someone who was overexposed, so just imagine just say you have your life savings there and you're now overexposed. You've massively overexposed on your position. What's your first thought then? Oh my God, I've lost so much money. So that's the difference in the thinking. That's the difference in what I'm trying to teach you guys. That's the difference in where the mindset we should be coming from. Now, we actually had an order here at this level of 52,000, and I got triggered in there. So there, I got triggered on the 3rd of the 12th. Absolutely got triggered in there. Didn't even know I got triggered in. Didn't even know. I got triggered in on Friday. Friday, I was flying to Seville, so I didn't even know it got triggered in. And that's the beauty of putting in the likes of these limit orders. Now, did I expect the market to drop down this far? No, I didn't. But looking at this level, if we had to put an order, horizontal, change that to green. If we had to put an order in there, just above the horizontal level, we'd now be up on that particular position as well, wouldn't we? And this is why putting in orders and having a clear, what would you call it, a clear outline of what you would expect to happen, because we can't always be there at that particular point. So if you'd have placed that trade there on that particular one, you'd be 20% up. So you invested 100 quid, your investment's now 120. 1,000 is 1,200. So on and so forth. So you'd have made a nice little investment on that. And this is why it's so important to place these things. Now, when I was on the way to Seville, this was dropping, and I think I posted in the group, it was about 47,000. And then it continued dropping. But that was something like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. How many of you guys were awake at that point? Well, I was. The only reason I was awake is because I was traveling to Seville. So this is why it's so important to have an understanding, have an idea, and then put these orders in place. So that means if the market does drop, it comes back to an area that we're set up. So if I go back here, if I look at this, we are now at 50,000. Now at 50,000. But if you look at this, I have an order still at 21,000. I have an order at 30,000. Now I don't have an order at 43, but I'm going to stick one in there now. 43 too. I'm going to stick one in. So if I just go to portfolio, absolutely back to BTC like that. So trade. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an order in. What was it? 43.2. Change that to 100 quid. That's the order set up there. Set order. So 43.2. If I go back here to absolutely sorry. I go here to orders. Yeah, I have an extra 0. I'll spot it. Just go back here again. Trade. Order. 43,200. Change that to 100 quid. And that there, that's set up. Okay, so we can see here. Look, I already still have these orders here now. We have these orders here. Okay. 43, 31, and 21. So if the market drops, I have these positions in place. Same with ADA at $1. Okay. So, because remember, we can't be always at the market. We can't be there at that particular time. Most of us have day jobs. Most of you guys are working. Most of you guys have family. Most of you guys have kids. For instance, a friend of mine was bringing our child to school this morning, and the school was waving them down saying they have to bring your child home, which means then that so again, it means then that has scuppered any plans that you had to sit down and look at the markets for, because you now have to homeschool your child for the day. Okay, so there's always reasons. So if you put in these orders, now Shorter's asked me, Henry, do you think it would have been triggered in at that particular point? I don't know. You would assume it would be, but I don't know. Depending on how quickly the market's moving, how trigger happy eToro's platform is, so on and so forth. That's a different matter. That can always, you can always ring eToro and go, come on, what's going on, or whoever your broker is, and go, there's something going on here. It hasn't happened. So, and again, if you have a decent broker and their system has let them down, generally they will actually put you into the market at that particular price. So, no, it's not infallible, but again, you would expect, because it's called dropping, you would expect the systems to set up to be able to trigger you in. And if it didn't trigger you in, and the maths works out that you should have been triggered in, then that's the broker's problem. The broker has to compensate you. That's there. And then you threaten to move your money. Okay, so obviously they don't want to lose you. If you're someone who's trading crypto, you're making them commission, because there's commission every time you place a trade. So it's in their best interest to keep you happy. And it's not like someone who's just trading underlying asset stocks. They don't care, because most brokers are now not making any money off you. Whereas if you're trading crypto and stuff like that, there, yes, they do, to make a spread off you. We look at the likes of ADA. That hasn't dropped as much as the rest of the markets. Hasn't dropped as much as the rest of the markets. Yes, we had that sort of level, and yes, we expected to come back into this area. Now, when we look at the likes of ADA, we saw it and it sort of broke out here to the upside and then continued coming down. So we've now seen this break and hit its head. So it's now hit its head once, come down, hit its head twice, come down 3 times, 4 times. See this? It's now hit its head again. Are we expecting this to come down and hit the floor? Are we expecting that now to hit its head there and come back down to there? Well, there's a pretty high probability of that happening, isn't there? There's a pretty high probability. You have your momentum is coming down. It's come down to this area. Okay, so we would expect it to sort of hit this floor. Now, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches there, and then it broke through it. But this level down here is much stronger. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's a much stronger level. So we would expect buyers to be looking in this area, and when this area happens, then for it to bounce. So that's what we would expect. Now, do up to the upside, how much? No idea. Could not tell you. No idea. No idea. I see some of you guys are sticking your hand up. Just put it into the chat group. Just put it into the chat group rather than sticking your hand up. So we would expect this to potentially come down and hit this floor. Now, again, we have this order here. Now, we haven't been triggered into that order 3 times. So this order seems to be a little bit off. So we should probably, if we're doing this order again, put it a fraction higher. Oh, got the wrong one. We should probably put this order a fraction higher if we're doing it. Somewhere around there. because this green order didn't get triggered in here and it didn't get triggered in here. I know some of you guys bought this live at this particular point, but for the sake of it, we can put our entry a little bit higher. And then if it comes down and hits there, at least then we get triggered in. So is this a point where we're happy to get in? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Now, some of the other ones have dropped pretty dramatically. Solana has come back down into that area. For 1 second. So Solana has come back down into this area, and it is bounced on this level. Now it hasn't. This one has sort of held its own a little bit. It hasn't dropped as much as the other currencies or the other crypto. It's come back into this level. So it tells me that this crypto here is something that has a little bit of momentum behind it. For this to hold, whereas all the other crypto have pretty much dropped 10, 20, 50% over this period of time. This tells me there's a bit of a pullback. This tells me there's a bit of money holding this. So did anyone buy this at this level or just above it, 175 level? And again, obviously, this is people who are sort of looking at crypto rather than stocks at the minute. So was that a level where some of you guys jumped in on this? Because out of the ones that we looked at, this seems to be the strongest so far. It seems to be pretty flat. Unfortunately, no. Look, it is what it is. Not everyone jumps in on it. Again, Tron come back into that level that we picked out again. And look what's happened when it hit that level. We've now had a little bump to the upside again. The problem with this one is this one massively trending? No, it's not. It's not massively trending. It seems to be a pretty flat and then has a spike, pretty flat spike, pretty flat spike. It doesn't seem to be something that has huge, what would you call it? It's not something that has huge trend behind it. Okay, so at the moment, this could be pretty flat for a while, and then we have a spike. And then if we get in at the right particular time, then there is loads of upside. Tron is doing really well behind the scenes. Okay, so Matic. Oh, round Matic it is. There we are. I was thinking it looks strange. Okay, so Matic is not doing the same as most of the other crypto. This one is actually on a little bit of a bull run, whereas the other ones are actually in a downward trajectory, which is pretty cool. Let's see, will it break that high? Will it come back down? So we wanted to break and retest, and look, it came back down and I went below it. But then I went up again and look at a big sell-off and I come back and hit this level and then it started going up. It actually made a higher high. Now, unfortunately, that's a one-day pullback. You see that one-day pullback? It's not something I recommend people trade at all. It's not something that I would shout out to people and show people to actually trade this 1 bar pullback. But again, we had worked out that was where it was going to go. Did anyone have an order just in front of that there? Did you guys have an order just in front of that horizontal that we picked out? Just about there. In this particular scenario, if you had a fraction low, you still would have got triggered in at 171. And if we look at this, if you'd have bought it then at that particular point, 171, up to the high is 40%, up to where we are right this second is 30% up. So they seemingly they have a big announcement on the 9th of December. Okay. But again, it looks like it's pretty bullish, isn't it? Compared to the likes of Bitcoin, compared to the rest of it, seems pretty bullish at the moment. So it's trending quite nicely. So the idea is it's just when we see these charts, when there's nothing going on in a bull run, when I say there's nothing going on, sort of a bull run, that is when we start scoping out where our order should be, where we're looking to jump in, where is value for us. Because remember, these markets tend to spike. They don't trend really nicely. They spike, which means then we have big, huge drops. And if we have big, huge drops, then we need to put our orders in. And if we have orders in place, then we get triggered into these markets at the correct times, which means then you don't have to stress about looking to buy it. You can't go, oh, sugar, I missed it because I was asleep. But the idea of putting the orders in has it there in place already for you. So something else I wanted to chat to you about is the likes of the indices. Okay, so the indices. So we talked about the likes of the Nasdaq, and we pretty much talked about that sort of on each webinar. So we've come back into this level. Bounced, it is now retested. So there was an order there, an entry and a stop loss at that particular moment, which was 2.4. About there is your 3-to-1. Did anyone take that trade on the likes of the Nasdaq? That inside bar, come back, touch that floor. Well done, Alexander. Anyone else take it? Okay, so no one else sort of took the one on the Nasdaq. Okay, no, I'm just talking about the Nasdaq ones. We'll cross the other ones now in a few minutes, but there's a support and resistance. Now, is that an aggressive trade to be taking? Is that an aggressive trade to be taking at the moment? So some people say yes, some people say no. Well, at the moment, when we look at psychology, what's going on at the minute? We have the new variant. We have sentiment going on that is not very nice. We also have the Federal Reserve are saying that they are going to fast track the buyback stimulation they have of the likes of the markets. So which theoretically means that they are still buying up bonds and buying up stocks and all those stuff. So they're going to stop buying those up to keep the market stimulated. They're going to slowly taper that and start taking off. And they're fast tracking their plan. So they're moving their plan up a little bit, which means then that on top of the variant, then that come out, which meant that the market has dropped a little bit. And that's why the market dropped there. But historically, this is sort of in the next week, this is where the Santa rally sort of takes off. Well, actually now is when it's right. So it's generally happens 2 weeks before Christmas. So 3 sevens are 21, so they're being up to 21st. So the next 2 weeks are theoretically when the Santa rally happens. So this could be the beginning of that run, but with the sentiment that's going on, it is a little bit aggressive on this trade. So is it something I would take? No. But is it a setup? Yes. Is it the best one in the world? No. Why? Because we had a very similar setup here, but it wasn't an inside bar. Whereas here we have this inside bar setup, which means that the sellers are finished. Okay. So if I move this out of the way, so we have this inside bar. It doesn't take out that low, which means then there's no more sellers in the market at this particular point. And then look, today's bar opens up. Now, again, we're talking about the futures market here. Once the market really opens up at half 12, it could be down here. It could make a lower low. But at the minute, it looks pretty good. Well done, anyone who took that trade. Now, some of you guys said, yes, I took a similar one on the S&P. Now, when we look at the S&P versus the Nasdaq, which of the two has the better setup? In your opinion? Now, the trade is similar. So you enter there. Oh, that's the wrong one. Remove. So entry there. Stop loss there. That is 2.5. So there, these are 3 to 1. All about the DJ. Okay, so out of the two of them, the Nasdaq is a better setup. Now, is it a better trade? I don't know because I don't have a crystal ball. But out of the two of them, it is the better setup. This one doesn't come back to this level. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, and then today's bar takes off. Whereas the Nasdaq, we actually have lower highs and lower lows. And then we have this one bar that tells us it's not making lower lows anymore. We have hit this level. So that is a ring low. So the Nasdaq is a much better setup than the S&P. Now, don't know which one's going to be a winner, which one's going to be a loser, or any of them for that matter. The risk to reward is also better on the Nasdaq than it is on the S&P. It's just a bigger bar. So then it comes down to your trade selection. Are you wanting to stay away from the Nasdaq for a particular reason? Why? Because it's tech heavy, you're overexposed to tech. That is something that is real. A lot of people do that. Or did you just take the S&P because you've had a couple of losers on the Nasdaq already? So make sure you're using correct analysis when you're taking these trades. So the Nasdaq was a much better trade than the likes of the S&P for that matter. And then the last one is the Dow. Okay, so some people took the Dow, which was the entry there. Entry there, stop loss there. So 2.5%, 7.5, about there. So how many people took the Dow Jones? How many people took the Dow? And then out of the three of them, the Nasdaq, the SP, or the Dow, which of those three are the better trades? Now, if we're looking at them, Nasdaq, S&P, and the Dow. Return-wise, it looks like the Dow has given us the biggest return so far. You're probably a 1-to-1 up, if a little bit higher on that. But out of the three of them, the Nasdaq is the better setup. Why? Because look, the Dow hasn't hit the floor, hasn't come back here. There's no floor hit. I can't guarantee that's the area that it's going to turn. That's not what I'm looking at. Yes, we have an inside bar again. Yes, this is inside this red bar. Absolutely. But that's not the scenario. That's not the case. We don't have a floor here. So we're literally taking it in no man's land. It's in the air. Whereas the S&P is a better trade because it's closer to that level than the Nasdaq. But we have these inside bars. It still hasn't touched it, or than the Dow. So it still hasn't touched it. And the Nasdaq has come back and it's bounced. It's hit that area. We have that reversal pattern. This is the ring low. This is the inside bar. It's a reverse pattern. It gives us a nice small bar. And today we actually have a bullish bar. So the idea is that we're picking the correct one of these and making sure that once we're happy with the correct one, that's the one that we're investing in. Okay, German DAX. So some people took the German DAX. Now, I understand that I have a level there on the German DAX. Let me have a quick look and see, can I amend that? So we're at record highs. Okay, cool. So is that trade valid on the German DAX? $4.4. Out there. 21. So is that a valid trade on the German DAX? Entry there and stop loss below this low. Some may say that it hasn't hit the floor. Well, see these wicks. See the wick? See the wick? I can get that and I can move that up. I can move that up to the bottom of this bar. So see the open and the close of this body? I can move that up. I can manipulate that and go, well, look, yes, it's now touched. That's the problem with the likes of wicks and horizontal levels and trend lines and stuff like that. They can be manipulated. They can be maneuvered. So by moving that up, it now incorporates this level. So yes, is that a valid trade? Absolutely. Now, a couple of things to be aware is if you're trading this, seems to be that ceiling at the moment. So if it gets up around here, I would expect some sort of selling power. Now, I can't guarantee that's going to happen, but I'd expect some sort of selling power at that particular point. So potentially keep an eye out on that. So we have this expanding wedge going on there, or expanding triangle. At the minute, it's getting bigger. It's going in the wrong direction. We're not looking at, but again, we have this horizontal level. Did it give us the cleanest entry there in the world? No, not at all. We had an inside bar, then we had a low test bar, then a high test bar, then we had the likes of another inside bar, then we had an engulfing bar, and then an inside bar again. So we've had that consolidation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of consolidation, and then it takes off. Now, if you expect this to continue going, so would I take some profit at the trend line? With this market, yes. Look at the market. Look at the moment. Look at the movements on it. Sideways. Do I expect it to break this? Well, eventually, yes. Eventually, I expect it to break it. But looking at the market at the minute, I would be looking to take some sort of profit there. Absolutely. Now, if you're someone who expects the likes of the Nasdaq, the S&P, the Dow, the German DAX, you're expecting them to continue going, but you miss that. You then drop down to the smaller time frames. So if we drop down, say, the 4 hour, and we see those, we can see this look bounced, bounced, bounced. So what we're looking for is some sort of retest. So we have that there. We want the market to go up. Yeah, want the market to go up to about there and then back down again. So we want that to go up to about there and then come back down. And when it hits this level here, we would then on the 4 hour be looking for this to kick off to the upside again. We're looking for this to happen. And that's how we trade that on the smaller time frames. It doesn't matter whether you're trading this or whether you're trading the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Dow. If we're confident that they're going to continue going on the daily, what we're doing is we're waiting for the pullbacks. And if we get the pullbacks in the correct areas, then we're looking to trade them on the smaller time frames. Okay, the UK 100. So the UK 100 is looks to be the strongest of them. It looks to be the strongest of them at the moment. But again, the UK 100 didn't give us an entry. You could have said there was a sort of a level through here. But again, look at the moment. Look at it, it's horrible. It's not something I would have said. For me, it would have had to have come down to there before we're looking to trade it. The French CAC. The French CAC actually come back down into that level there. Is it the strongest level in the world? No, it's not. But it's a much better entry here than the likes of the UK 100. And at that particular point, then we have popped to the upside. And in China, we talked about China. We talked about this potentially hitting this floor and then breaking out to the downside. And it hasn't. It has sort of broke out to the upside. It's broken out to the upside, which is a nice little bonus for us. Let's see now if this now takes off to the upside. That would be nice if that would take off now, just before the end of the year. But only time will tell with the likes of this one. So is there any particular stock or questions on anything we've gone through there that you want me to have a look at in particular? I know Chainlink. Oh wow, there's been a pretty big drop in Chainlink, hasn't there? But again, you can see these levels, can't you? You can see why it's jumped and why it's dropped. So 1 touch, 2, 3, 4, and now it's hit it again. It's hit once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6, 7, and then it's dropped from there again. So people tell me all the time that trading is hard. Trading is not hard. All you have to do is have a little bit of patience and common sense. If you have a bit of common sense, long term, you should make money at this. There's no reason why we can't. By using simple floors, by simple ceilings, we can do all this sort of crap. It's not hard. Trading is not hard. It's just we have to get rid of our emotion. Thoughts? So the idea would be now is it comes back down to here. We'd expect that to go back up to that potential level. Now, I have no idea what momentum is in this at the minute, but there is where you would expect it to go. Now, that's an ideal scenario. Probability is go up here, come back down again, go up, come back down again, and then eventually have a spike. Polka dots. Again, and it's come back into that really nice level, and it's bounced. Again, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and now 9. Did anyone buy polka dot there at 26.5? 26.6 to be precise. And if we look at it, there's 100%. There's 100% return on investment for it to get back to the high. Well, 90 from there, 100% from there, 109. Peter, you bought it there at X2. Well done. Well done. Hopefully the market pops to the upside for you. Let's hope that's where it's going to go. So no one has come up with some stocks or anything for me to look at. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump on to say the. Okay, why is this changed? Nope, it hasn't. I'm just looking at the wrong one. So this is the list that I've done, and I'm updating it all the time. Airbnb. So Airbnb had a really bad period shortly after the IPO. And we're back here. We have a horizontal here. I've got Bitcoin in Binance. Is it possible to transfer it to eToro? You are asking a question that I do not have the answer to. I'm assuming you can put it onto your wallet. Okay, so seemingly what someone says is you can transfer it to your eToro wallet, but only on eToro money, not your trading account. Okay, if that makes sense. And someone said no, but you wouldn't want to either. So it's had this ceiling. So where's looking like Airbnb is transferring between, is pinging between these two levels. Okay, it looks like it's pinging between these two levels. And with today's bar, and if the market continues to go up, would expect it sort of hit this level. If not, we would expect it to drop down to there. And anyone who is not, is there anyone here not in the actual Discord chat room? Is there anyone here not in the Discord chat room? If you're not, let me know. There's a chat room that myself and Ben run. If you're not in this chat room, this Discord chat room, you want to get in, just let me know, and I will send you the link for it. Okay, so that's not something that would massively jump out at me at the moment. Is Airbnb undervalued? I don't know. It'll probably do well. It'll probably do better than the likes of Uber and stuff, but long term, I don't know what sort of upside it has. So some of these stuff we haven't looked at. Some of the stuff we haven't looked at. Some of the stuff is pretty new to you guys. Likes of that. Is this here a trade that anyone will be looking to take? Would we be looking to take this as a trade, as a buy? The answer is no. Why? Because this is no cyclicity here. This is all sort of just moving slowly sideways. So this is not something we're looking to trade, even though it's come back to here. Okay, this one is trending up nicely, but again, we need some sort of pullback. We need a phase 2 to come back on this. Is that something that potentially we could trade? Now, very simply, by putting in a horizontal and sort of a trend line, we've come to an area that there's a potential trade. Now, this has been trending up nicely since October 2020, but prior to that, it has a pretty big drop. So there is loads of room for this to continue going. Loads of room for this to continue going. Up to 36. So we've another 30% for this to potentially run. So there is room for this to continue growing. So this list that I've put up here, has anyone actually gone through this list properly? Because I sent you guys the link on this. Okay, look, bounced, retest, and now we're at the beginning of this phase 1 again. Okay, this particular point, this is now off my list. Look at this low, it's now broken this low. So this now is off my list. This is something that has one, broken the horizontal that was there with a double bottom, and it's also broken my trend line here. So we had a bit of a trend line there at that particular point. So it's broken one of those. So this for me is now off the list. Yeah, some of these stocks are not on eToro. But again, if you've come across something that is tradable, something that you're happy to trade, do you really need eToro to trade it? No, you don't. We're also, look here, we're back at this level. Again. But it's not always, oh well, Henry, sometimes it's just an exercise I give you. Sometimes it's an exercise to show you that just to go on to stuff that you've never seen before and just analyze it. Analyze the charts. There's a phase 2 there. I have no ceiling. This is the one back down here. This has to come back to here for me to trade that. What's the probability of that coming back? Very slim. Very slim. Again, this one, if that comes back to there, would that be something that we would look to trade if that comes back to there? Absolutely. But I'd be very interested to understand why this has slowed down. Be very interested to find out why this has slowed down. What's after happening here? So the earnings at this particular point was up 5%. So what's after happening here? Why is this slowed down? Copy link, send it to everyone. Control V. Absolutely, it is an overvalued stock. So for me, even though this trends really, really nicely, I would be having a look to find out what's going on here. So would I be blindly jumping in here? No. This is now, looks like it's a little bit of top heavy. So again, look into it. And this is why these exercises are really important. And yes, this trend is beautiful, but look, the trend has stopped here. Am I looking to get in here? Potentially, but I need to do a little more digging. I need to do a little more digging. Whereas this one, because it's trending quite nicely, no. When it comes back to that trend, that's where I'm looking to get in. So this one, so utility software, sorry, Unity software, is that something we potentially be looking at? %. And there would be to take profit on it. Looks good, doesn't it? But again, I'd be interested to find out why this dropped. Is there any particular reason? Is that just because the Nasdaq was dropping? Find out why this is dropping here. But it looks pretty decent. Someone said Home Depot. Yep, Home Depot is just one of those stocks that just continues to go. It moves sideways, then it takes off. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do with the likes of this. Jump in on and trade it. Very, very little. There's nothing there to give me an entry on this. Potentially there. If I get a horizontal, that gives me a better level here. But that has to come back into this area for me to potentially be looking at it. There is a potential flag there, yes, but it's on a smaller time frame. drop down to say the 4 hour. And then a breakout, yes, but again, it's you're trading a smaller time frame for that. And then it breaks out the upside. Walmart is much better. Let's have a look. Daily. Okay, so someone said that Walmart is much better. So out of the two, which do you think is a better stock? Home Depot or Walmart? Perfect. Home Depot is a much better stock. Now, is there a better level to trade off of on Walmart? Yes, there is. Absolutely. But again, you're trading it between these two levels at the minute, so 134 and 153. So is there a trading opportunity at the minute? Yes, there is. Of course there is. But out of the two of them, which one would I be looking to trade? Home Depot instead of Walmart. Okay. Everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. It's been a great trade, and hope you all have a lovely evening. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye bye.